Hello and welcome. Another episode with the WERF League. I am JT, joined by Jon here. You can find me on Twitter at JT_the Ginger. Jon, you can find on Twitter, Jon with no H, Jon Hegland. How we doing?
I'm doing fabulously. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a solid weekend, a lot of relaxing, put it that way.
Yeah,
And
sounds like it.
good Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, the best. I'm us too.
We love the mothers. That's what we decided on.
I don't know about you, but I love all your mothers. I think I've established that. Generally, much love for the mothers.
Yes. All right. Well, speaking of mothers, no, I don't really have a segue to that, but Jon's on with me. We're going to talk about some WERF League happenings. Got quite a few trades to kind of recap and go over. Probably the first one is what we were involved with a couple weeks ago. So let's just start there, I guess. We'll pull it up here. And very bottom.
Oh yeah, the big one.
Avisale for TJ.
Yeah. Well, you drove a hard bargain there. I can't exactly remember the names we were throwing around. But I was trying to sell you on Cesar Valdez. I've been pretty shameless about putting him on the block because I had before yesterday, I had 4 closers, and it's a little tough to start 4 closers, out of 9 pitching slots, obviously. So Valdez was riding my bench most weeks, and I wanted to move him or potentially a different closer, but we threw around some names and I thought we were dead in the water, and you came back with TJ, and I love TJ Antone, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting double-digit saves this year for the Reds, but I couldn't really start him. I just didn't really have a place for him. And so what I needed was an everyday outfielder, and we landed on TJ for Avisale, who got off to a slow start, but I expect he'll return. He'll get back into form. He's already started to hit a little bit. And I don't know. I like that trade. I think it's fair. I think it really addresses each of our needs. And, with every trade, you should feel a little twinge of regret in what you're giving up. But,
Yeah.
And I do, because I think Antone's got such an electric arm. But it was good. It helped balance my roster a bit.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, when we were talking names, you were keying in on, to me at least, it was keying in on was it Jared Walsh?
Yeah, I have my eye on Walsh.
And I love him, and my offense is a lot of above average, but I think I pretty much have Cunha and then a bunch of jabronis basically. So it's like my 4th best hitter on the team, and I was like, man, do I need saves that bad? I think we're talking Diego Castillo, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And you were also keyed on an Avisale, but it was for a Cesar Valdez, and I was like, looking at the team one time, I was like, I'd rather give up Avisale just in terms of value, but I was like, Antone's just sitting there. Maybe that would be something, little upside, little less trepidation in terms of like you said, giving up that player an opportunity. But too bad I didn't have him for the save in time. The trade essentially executed, but we didn't get him on our rosters till the following period. But I just watched part of the interview TJ had with Pitching Ninja. It just got released today, and I watched just a few minutes, but I really wanted to key in on what they talked about. He compared his slider to throwing a bowling ball, and right now I have goosebumps because I've talked about this with my buddy Kevin. Kevin and I are in a bowling league and have been for 6-7 years now. And when you're bowling, I don't know are you an avid bowler? Do you go down to bowling?
I've been, I bowl infrequently, but yeah, a few times a year for sure.
Okay. Well, I'm a bit of a junkie, not as much as my buddy Kevin, but I can hold like a 210 average.
Wow.
And
Damn.
when you're bowling that well and that often, it's almost kind of like pitching. You pick up on how well the oil is, how much of it, how deep it is, where you can turn the ball, and there's different types of spin and tilt and spin access, and it's just like there's a few similarities to pitching, and I always kind of like threw it out there as like, oh, maybe that's just me. I'm thinking of it. That's how I compartmentalize it. But TJ Antone out of nowhere goes, it's like bowling when I throw that slider and the last push off, it's the access, it just turns and it like hooks like a bowling ball at the end. And he just spoke on it for like 30 seconds. I was like, oh, I guess I'm not crazy, because a professional pitcher who has some plus stuff just made that correlation. And I don't know. I want to go back and watch the whole interview. I didn't have quite enough time, but yeah, it released today. So go check that out. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny that the obvious bowling baseball connection is Mookie Betts, but interestingly enough, he's not a pitcher. So yeah, I can see that, and you should think about writing something, playing out that comparison between bowling and pitching. I think that would be pretty fascinating. So I'm just putting it out there, JT.
That would be pretty fun to at least verbalize it or put it into a word, because there is some types of things like each night, just like each day you would pitch, if you're pitching every 5 days, the weather's different, where you are, the city, the humidity, the temperature, like bowling, the lanes, are they oiled recently, how much practice was on them before we started. And there's some commonalities, and you're up there, you're solo, it's you, the ball, and the target.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. So
Well, I also think, I don't know I mean, I'm guessing that TJ does bowl to have that kind of detailed knowledge of it, but it also, I think, speaks to the depth of craft that the Reds pitchers get with Derek Johnson and the affiliation with, Driveline and all that. I mean, it seems like they're the franchise right now that's really out in front as far as doing new things with pitching. So and in to take it back to fantasy, I certainly look at Reds pitchers a little more closely, just because they're on the Reds. Like, take someone like Wade Miley, who you think of him as kind of a journeyman. He's had a nice consistent career, but he's never been a fantasy stud. And even earlier in this year, I didn't manage to get him anywhere, but I was looking at him like, okay, well, knowing that he's got this depth of experience, and now seeing what the Reds staff and pitching coordination team can do with him, like that might be kind of interesting. And it turns out it's led to a no-hitter. So yeah, so the Reds are a good pitching team now, even though they're in a park that is not ideal, but it's a fun team.
yeah, TJ also had a shout out for Bauer in terms of one of his pitches that he was improving on. I honestly can't remember if it was his changeup or if it was his slider, but it was spin access related. Bauer gave him a really good mental visual on. Oh, maybe it's you gotta go watch it. They talked about
But
it. It was talking about
yeah,
his shoulder, and it might have been the curveball, because he's saying if he's late on his curveball, it does nothing because his hand is behind it. But Bauer's like, think about your shoulder coming through, and your hand will follow. So then your hand is in front of the ball, and it can just snap off, roll off your fingers. So yeah, a lot of good stuff going on in Cincinnati for pitching wise.
is that a way to segue into the bigger trades that were made yesterday in WERF?
I would think so. There was two of them. You were involved with both yesterday. I guess you weren't too busy in the afternoon on Mother's Day. You probably got all your your happenings done in the morning.
We did Mother's Day stuff on Saturday. The weather was a little nicer, so we went out to the mountains and did some morel mushroom hunting around here. And then honestly, this is going to sound incredibly bizarre, but I asked my wife, because for Mother's Day or Father's Day, the spouse in question really just has the option to get the day they want. And I said, okay, what do you want to, do you want me to take the boy and go somewhere and leave you alone? Do you want to go have a spa day somewhere, whatever? And she's like, honestly, I just want to sit on my ass and watch bad TV on the couch and fold laundry. And I'm like, done. We can do that. We can accommodate that. So
Sometimes that's any day that ends with a Y.
I mean,
it's the simple
yeah,
things in
so
life, though.
I guess, but anyway, that did give me a bit of time to check in on the trade negotiations, which, this was just kind of a wild hair I got. I try to do my FAAB bids first thing Sunday morning, because otherwise the day will just get away from me. So I try to at least put in a set of bids, and there's really only, there's basically 3 leagues that I do Sunday night FAAB in. So it's not like some of the NFBC guys that are doing, 10 or 15 leagues worth of FAAB, which would drive me absolutely bonkers. But, I put in some bids, and I was just looking at what I really needed in WERF was starting pitching. And I was not seeing a ton of on the waiver wire. And I thought, let's, maybe I can just make a trade and get it done today. And, go into next week with a new pitcher on my roster. So I threw that out to the league chat. Mikey Aheto was the first to respond, and he owns, or he had drafted Trevor Bauer. And Mikey, if you know Mikey at all, you know that he's not a Trevor Bauer fanboy in the slightest, and nor am I, for the personal stuff. But if Mikey was willing to move Trevor Bauer, he is actually a competent pitcher. He's actually even more valuable in a quality starts league, I think, because he does tend to go deep into outings, and he has been healthy. He's seldom been injured throughout his career. So I've totally jinxed him, but that was also a point in his favor. And so we threw around some names. He needed a big bat. And we talked about one of my UT guys, which were Nelson Cruz and Shohei Ohtani. And I sort of realized that, the deal wasn't going to get done unless Ohtani was in it for him. And he mentioned Carlos Carrasco, who I hated to give up because I spent an early pick on him before he got hurt. I like him as a player. He's a great story. He's fun to root for. But, he's difficult to value right now because he's still probably, 10 days to 2 weeks away from making his debut. And it's hard to know what we're going to get. So I thought I'd, just use that uncertainty and go ahead and move him. And then we were just settling on the final name that would come back to me to make it a 2 for 2. I think I threw out like Jeff McNeil, and Mikey was not super hot on that. And then I came back with Brandon Nimmo or Josh Bell, and he said, fine, either one of those guys is fine. And I'm still a little bit worried about Nimmo's with Kevin Pillar there. So even when Nimmo comes off the IL, I'm a little worried about the playing time. So I thought just bet on a Josh Bell resurgence. And so that's what got it done.
All right. I'll have to talk to Mikey. It sounds like he's on team raccoon and not rat, or is it the other way around?
I'm not sure.
McNeil.
I don't know. Yeah.
I kind of I only got the tail end of whatever happened there, but it sounds
he's
like
on what? Yeah, he's on the McNeil animal, whichever.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when I saw your thing, I think probably should have thrown it out there, like, hey, you need a pitcher that's breathing and you're gonna start this week. I got a handful, but I think I got caught up with something else, and then oh well, you got to
Yeah.
strike while the iron's hot. But the other one that interested me was Iglesias, because I know you held him in high regard, regarding when we were talking. I was trying to trade for saves just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So what do you see in Freddie Peralta in the trade you made where there with Corbin?
Yeah. So I see strikeouts and a lot of them for Peralta. Still a little leery about. I mean, I think he's still going to be prone to blowups. I was actually surprised. I was like, well, his whip was really high a few starts ago, but he's gotten it back down. He's had a few good starts. Yeah, there's some risks there, but I that's basically the attractive thing for Peralta is the strikeouts. And with Iglesias, I just I don't know how much better he is than Diego Castillo or Mark Melancon at this point. I mean, he's a better pitcher than Mark Melancon. I think that's clear, but Melancon's situation is so sweet in San Diego. Just getting, he's locked in there. He's on a good team. He's just going to get a ton of opportunities if he can stay healthy. It's in the longer he goes without having a run of, bad outings, the tighter grip he has on that job, I think. So I was okay moving Rysel. And, I was trying to pry, there are a few other pitchers that Corbin had, like Zach Greinke and Lance Lynn, that, is sort of, and Trevor Rogers, he has, and Peralta was the name that he seemed most willing to move. So that got it done.
Yeah, I like that one. It's a different angle than I guess I'm accustomed to. But when I saw that go through first, I was like, okay. And then you're like, wait, hold on, there's another big one coming down, and so yeah, that's pretty cool. Also, I'll briefly talk about Andy and I made a trade.
Yeah.
McCullers for Olson there. Some AL West players. I forget how it came up, but I think ultimately I was looking at needs across the board in WERF and trying to find some teams that would fit my need for a bat and could use a pitcher. And in terms of just what I thought was fair value straight across, his first offer was 2 for 2, and it involved two players I didn't really want involved. I think it was not Jose Iglesias, the shortstop. It was one of his other shortstops. But and then also Kirilloff, whereas it's like I don't want to sell him short. I drafted him fairly high, and he produced, but that wrist, I just recently read that he's going to take some batting swings, and if it feels good, he's going to roll with it. If it feels bad, they're talking surgery. So I hope that batting practice goes
Yeah, you'll be
favorably.
paying attention to the Roto World note on that.
So I essentially just said, hey, let's trim the fat. He already involved Olson from McCullers. I was like, I think I like it, but I think I don't like it. So I think it's fair. And like, let's do it. I slept on it, and then the next morning I was like, yeah, I think it benefits both rosters and balances us out. So we're both near kind of that 10th place, kind of hovering in the Roto 70 point range or so. So
yeah, I hadn't realized that Olson was doing as well as he is. 260 right now, 266, 347, 523. That's pretty nice. Slash line, especially the average and OBP, are good for him. And we are an OBP league. So that's a solid OBP guy. And I think you can dial in, 30 homers for Olson. So it's just nice having those anchor power bats, I think. So I've never been a big McCullers guy. I think he's having a good year, but I always feel like the stats don't always match up with the way the stuff looks. I think he looks great. And he's also, I mean, I'd have to go back and look and see what his actual injury history is, but he seems to me to be someone who's always, close to or coming back from an IL stint. So I think it's a fair trade. I don't think one or the other is a clear winner. I think it's certainly just whatever your needs are. But I like that for you as far as getting a really productive bat.
Yeah.
So nice job, JT.
I thought it was solid. Yeah, I think I'm more partial to Olson. I've liked him for a while. There's certain players that I identify with, and I think when I look at players, I more look at their floor. Sometimes I think I'm a little risk adverse. I remember owning Olson when he had that hamate bone injury, and I luckily had an IL spot. Or might have been IR spot at the time, but or DL, excuse me, a DL spot at the time. But he bounced back strong that year. So I was like, it made me kind of just believe in his floor, his ability to hit the ball in a good situation. Unfortunately, not in a great home park, but he's still fairly young. Not too long in the tooth yet, but
the thing is, I forget who. I think it was Mike Gianella, who is my colleague at Baseball Perspectives, but he made the point about sluggers in pitcher friendly parks is that if they're a true slugger, the park really doesn't hold them back that much. Like it really doesn't. Matt Olson is not hitting a bunch of wall scrapers, so when he's got the power to, I'm not saying that playing in Oakland as your home park is a non-factor, but I think it's less of a factor for him than it might be for another hitter who's a little more dependent on the park environment. So I wouldn't let the home park be a real cause of concern for someone like Olson. He's a masher.
Yeah, and I would agree. And to add on that, it almost could be a benefit. Big park, sea level, marine layer. If you're all focused on that, then I'd think, oh, that's more opportunity for a bunch of doubles, gap to gap.
Yeah.
Just yeah. But yeah, like I said, if slugger's gonna slug, then he's still gonna do it no matter where you put him. And that's
slugger's gonna slug.
I just put that on a shirt. Actually, Slugger. Talk about it. Boom. Eugene Emeralds. I think that's his name. Is Slugger.
They're the Giants affiliate now, right? So
yeah,
we got to talk about who is the Tri-Cities affiliate?
The Angels, the Dust Devils.
Oh, okay.
I like that contrast too.
Angels and Devil, yeah. We got to talk about. I know I'm gonna hit up some Spokane games, but maybe I can make it down for a Dust Devils game at some point in the summer.
I'll tell you what. You check your calendar. I think it's the second to last weekend of June. Everett's going to be in town for 6 straight games.
Wow.
And that's the only time they're going to be in the Tri-Cities. I don't know about Spokane. Obviously, Spokane's a lot closer of a drive. But I remember offering to you before we, knew each other better. As this random guy said, hey, if you're ever in the Tri-Cities, it'd be cool to meet up a game. And at the time, I threw it out there and I'm thinking, yeah, okay, weirdo. Yeah, sure. Thanks for the generous offer.
No, man.
I don't know if I know you well enough to meet up at a game with you, but I was just trying to kill you with kindness.
I knew you were a Butch Cougar, so that's like endless credit. Butch T Cougar, you're good with me.
Yeah, and actually, as I've been, I've befriended the the peanut guy, they call him at the Dust Devils game, Eric the Peanut Guy. He is legendary. He lives in Spokane. I think he is some type of staff type teacher role with Gonzaga in terms of like the ministry or something to that effect.
Okay.
But he's long-standing ever since Tri-Cities started. He's been working with them, and he's their on-field MC. He is a avid collector of minor league baseball hats, and I've befriended him, got to know him really well, and then I just went to a game on Wednesday, and got to talk to him in person and put a face to a name, and we've been talking on Twitter all 2020, and so it was really cool to meet him. So he was pretty stoked as well. But
That's awesome. No, I want to come down. We were talking before we started recording. I'm going to make it to Walla Walla in a few weeks, but that's not doesn't quite make it to you, and I'll be doing family business, but
yeah,
soon enough.
also,
Because who doesn't like to go to Pasco in like, the middle of the summer? It's really a destination, right?
it is. It's a nice dry
It's beautiful. Heat. Yeah.
And well, depending on when you last drove through here, it just keeps growing and growing around here. We have allegedly 3 Jimmy Johns coming to the Tri-Cities by this fall 2021.
You're going to be driving around like, I don't know, I want Jimmy John's, but which one should I go to? Wait.
I'm still a bit of a lazy body. I'll just go to the nearest one, but I'm a big sub type of sandwich fan. I like my deli meats and my bread and my veggies. And that was my first job back in the day in high school, Subway sandwich artiste. So I like to lay it down. I appreciate Eno's flair for the sandwiches on Twitter.
Yeah, Eno's sandwich Twitter is good.
All right. I guess the only other trade was DeGrom for Tatis, and then 2.
Yeah, that little deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much. I think ultimately Smada just said, "Hey, I'm willing to trade DeGrom. I think he's way overloaded in pitching, and he goes, let's go big or go home." And so he got a taker. So
well, okay, so April 30th, I guess that was okay. So Tatis had come back by then, I believe.
For the Dodgers series, I think that's how it lined up. Or before that.
Arguably, Smada was taking on some of the risks because, of course, yes, DeGrom has had little tweaks here and there, but at that point when they made the trade, DeGrom looked just absolutely invincible. And Tatis, came back strong from the injury, but everyone's like, "Oh, I don't know about this. It's a shoulder injury. This could go south at any moment." And now DeGrom's the one that's banged up, and Tatis is looking good. The average isn't there yet, but he's the power clearly is, and I don't know what he's been doing with steals. I don't actually have Tatis anywhere, so I'm gonna see what. Yeah, I guess you could just do that. 7 steals. Yeah. 315 OBP. You'd like to see that go up. It probably will. So, that's a big trade for sure.
Yeah, those some good fireworks. I don't.
And now you're telling me that so you mentioned a couple weeks ago that all of the other Earth leagues, the grand total of trades for those leagues was goose egg, right?
Nil. Yeah.
Are they all still trade virgins in the
I haven't verified, but I would allege so, because just at the end of the day yesterday, late Sunday, I said, "Hey, update trade transaction counter," because last time I told him we were at 7. So last
Yeah.
time I told him it was pre McCullers Olson trade. So I was like, hey, we're at 10 now, double digits. And then I gift a scene from Wolf of Wall Street where everyone's just going crazy in the trade room and they're just moshing. That's the gif I used. And the only response or reaction I got was one of the commissioners just did a little laughing, crying emoji to the number 10. And I was like, like I don't know the dynamic of the other leagues and how they interact and stuff. And I just was like, hey, an update, it's just so I don't know. I'm really having a lot of fun with what we're doing here in WERF. And
Well,
I was
like everyone has told me that, or everyone, people who have been in, quote unquote industry leagues always say, well, no one likes to trade because everyone is worried that they're going to be publicly, criticized or mocked if it doesn't work out. And maybe I'm just naive, and maybe I don't know. I just think of this more as a friendly league than like an industry league. And that is completely due to the fun that this league is. I mean, this is a fun league, and a lot of that is down to you and the community that you're building. And so kudos to you for that. But I think of it as a fun league with banter, and we have our DMs thread on Twitter. And like TGFBI, there's no trading in TGFBI, so no one really talks to each other. I'm in the Tout Wars draft and hold, but there's no trading in that because it's a draft and hold. So I guess I'm making these trades and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess someone could write about me trading away Shohei Ohtani for Trevor Bauer. But okay, that's cool. That's fine.
Yeah, and Otani's not as, I mean, if this was a daily moves or just like you could reset your roster even like on a Monday and a Thursday, which I kind of want to throw out there for next year. There's a couple tweaks I want to throw out just to, because I want its own niche, this type of leagues we're creating. I don't know if there's going to be more. There was some rumor about like a St. Louis area one and maybe like a Florida type one for next year. But Ohtani, you got for the whole week, you got to set, whether he's going to bat 5 times for you or going to get one start. So it's a little different.
Yeah, no. And when I mentioned I was talking with Mikey and we were talking trade, I said, well, he's pitcher eligible now because it took him, I think, 5 starts to gain that eligibility because he only had 1 start last year, or 1 or 2, but there's not really since he is hitting so well and since he's hitting like 5 days a week at minimum now, there's really no reason that you'd use him as a pitcher at this point if you had to choose between the two, which you do in our league. But I threw that out to Mike anyways. Like, yeah, I didn't even think about that option, but I guess it's good, as a plan B if the hitting goes south. But right now he's a hitter who pitches for fantasy purposes. He's not a pitcher who hits. So, yeah, but he's still a fun player. I mean, it was kind of heartbreaking because this was the only league where I had Ohtani, and I love to watch him play. I just think he's, obviously everyone knows it, everyone says it. He's just so much fun doing what, the things he can do. So, but, I would prefer to win the league than to just fanboy out on Shohei Ohtani. So I went the complete other direction, and now I have Trevor Bauer. So, oh well.
So yeah, now it's super serious. Gotta focus, keep your composure.
Yep. Now I'm going to adopt, Trevor Bauer's persona on Twitter and start to abuse. No, I'm not. Just kidding.
John, what do you want for Father's Day? I want a drone. I want to start fumbling around with that and learn the ins and outs.
Yeah. I'm sure if Trevor Bauer was a father, he'd never acknowledge paternity. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
He just wants to be everyone's daddy in terms of just owning them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Moving on. You were talking about Earth, and I just pulled up the standings here since we kind of recapped all the trades that have gone on the last few weeks. Chris, Baseball Pods, the commish of the WERF League, sitting at the top.
Good
Pretty
job,
much
Chris.
a little over 1 month in.
Yeah, I'm trying to see here. I mean, these are familiar names. Canadian Exwo Bacon. That's Mark from our league, who is a very good player. He's also in my TGFBI league, and he is very sharp. Hi, Mark, if you're watching / listening to this. I am Paloozers in spot number 10 overall. So yeah, I want to be, I'm happy to be where I'm at right now. I want to be in first. So, let's see what I can do.
Yeah, just tweak the lineup and hopefully charter a similar yet better course for some overall standings.
I'm ahead of these, these very shady, sketchy players like, I don't know, DVR. What is that?
Does anyone have those anymore? Aren't they just on the cloud?
It's obviously Derek Van Riper, who is a legend in the game and in the podcasting world. So, yeah, I probably need to wrap up and see my child to bed.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right. Well done. Good trades. I'm just going to recap some FAAB transactions, but you said you held on to your units this week, so not much to recap for yourself.
Let's go pull up the FAAB. We'll do this. I'll work through this with you pretty quickly. I haven't looked, so I'm going to just make these snap judgments and criticize everyone's bids.
All right. First off, I picked up Adrian Hauser for 45 units.
I was actually gonna bid on Hauser before I made all these trades, so I like that. I think he was my top pitching option for FAAB this week. So I think 45 is fair. You would have beat me out. I think I was looking at bids in like the 20s, but yeah, I like that. Well done.
All right, Tyrone Taylor been batting like third for Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think
for 37.
I think it's a good short-term stopgap. I think he's going to be pretty productive. He's basically replacing. It's interesting because he's become kind of an everyday guy, whereas it's Kane and Jackie Bradley Jr. who are kind of platooning. So I think Taylor's a good get. Oh, and of course, Mark gets Tony Gonsolin a couple weeks before he comes off the aisle. That's a very smart pickup there.
Probably a little stash there. I think I ended up bidding 35 on Gonsolin, so I was a little off from truly trying to obtain him. Same for Garrett Richards. I think I threw out like a 15, maybe somewhere around there in the teens. But Patrick, wanting to believe, Garrett Richards, who's actually been, his K to walk is what I noticed recently. He is not walking anyone, but he's getting hit because his whip is still like 1.2 or something.
Yeah, I think he's tweaked some stuff. I don't know if he's adjusted his pitch mix, but I feel like, I know his last start was a pretty good one. So I think, starting pitching is so thin that I think it's, you can't really criticize anyone for getting Richards, given the track record in the past when he's been healthy and, the encouraging results of late. So sure, Garrett Richards, I see it.
I'm plotting a course regarding Smata here. Bear with me. He gets Trevor Larnach, 217. But Kirillov's going to bounce back. He's totally healthy. I believe in his wrist. He's going to have a great batting cage session here in a couple days. No surgery required. He's going to come back, hit awesome for a few weeks. And I'm going to say, hey, Smata, you want Kirilov? Because Larnach got demoted. I want, and then Fernando Tatis, boom. Because obviously he really believes 217 units in Trevor Larnach. Is that feasible?
I think it's one possible future that could unfold. I don't know if it's the most likely future, but the future is unwritten. I am not a big Larnach guy. I think
Is it Larnach?
it's Larnach.
Okay.
But you say it however you like. He's a Beaver, right? He's an Oregon State guy, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you know, these guys, like the elite prospects, there's a decent chance they're going to come up and rake. Like, you know, when Wander gets called up, yeah, sure, he's probably going to hit well out of the gate. But even some of the elite guys, like Alex Bregman, came up and he went like 0 for 30 something in his debut. I mean, Mike freaking Trout didn't come out of the gate hitting much. But Larnach, I just don't know that he's the level of guy. I think there's probably quite a bit of swing and miss there. And I think there's power. I'm not sure what else is there right out of the gate. I think people are a little hot and bothered. So 217 is too rich for my blood.
Is it funny that I thought of Larnach, and it must be my Oregon State, like in the back of my mind, lefty bat. I literally thought Conforto light, but maybe that's just an OSU bias that I'm linking the two in my head.
I don't think he's going to be as good as Conforto. I don't think I don't think the hit tool is anywhere near Conforto's, but
I said light.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
All right. Galvis, some multi-position, just bench.
I mean, yeah, you got to do it. It's winning ugly, but I picked up Galvis in TGFBI because I just needed a second baseman. He's playing every day. He's fine, whatever.
Got that hit streak going. He's seen the ball well.
Yeah.
All those idioms, but.
And the nice thing about Galvis is you don't get attached. You know, you keep him for a couple weeks and then you cut bait, and it's not something you have to stress over, really.
Yep. No, that's a good point. Kittredge for 5 units.
Yeah, maybe he gets a save or two, whatever.
Yeah, Logan Webb for free to Patrick. Patrick needs to save some FAAB units, so I think we're all okay with giving Patrick a free Logan Webb if he wants it.
Because I spent like 50 on Logan Webb in the first FAAB period, and then I subsequently dropped him, and Patrick is now scooping up my discarded starters. But no, I think Webb's pretty good. You know, I think if you can have him in your reserves and trot him out for the home starts, especially because that park is so pitcher friendly, I think that's absolutely a good play.
Yep. Brandon Marsh starting to play. He's healthy. Probably get called up, especially with Pujols no longer. So maybe Andy Snipes.
Can I do a hot take? Give my hot take.
Ooh, yeah.
I like Marsh better than Joe Adell for the short term. I think he's gonna come out of the gate much more. I mean, it's a low bar to clear because Adell in his limited run last year didn't really do anything. But as a power speed guy, I like Marsh quite a bit.
I like it. I think I'm there with you. I'm sure Adele will be one of those post-hype sleepers. Once he seems like a consummate professional from what I've seen or heard. But in terms of short term, I think I agree with you. Is it Manoah with Toronto? big
Yeah.
lefty,
Yeah.
and looking good in his minor league debut for 2021. Struck out double digits, I believe 12. So Smata getting him for 59. I put in just 0 for Manoah just in case I missed a few, but no Can-Do'sville there. Let's see, Lurie Garcia probably playing a little bit more. Is Anderson on the IL? I'm not up to date on my White
Think
Sox
so.
news.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Lurie might be playing in the outfield, but he's kind of your.
Yep, started in center field. You're
Yeah.
right. Well, yeah, they do need someone to play center field. That was the running joke.
Yeah.
Pujols got dropped. Pujols center field. La Russa needs you.
Yeah. So I mean, he's bound to just by osmosis in that lineup get some counting stats, and sure, it's fine.
Let's see, Jan Gomes, Smata, must have lost catcher. Oh, he did have Darnode, so I think Darnode got dropped, so Jan Gomes there. Bobby Witt, Speckad, maybe he gets called up soon. It seems like a stretch, but maybe AP is planning for the future, had a spot to sit on.
Sure.
While he's cheap, get him for 23, other than the week of his debut, be triple digits.
Yep.
Petit got a random save there, so could see maybe that coming to fruition. I kind of am done with Evan White for now. I need him to gain a pulse, so I picked up Andujar. I know he got sent right back down, but I figure he might fare a little bit better in the short term for 10 FAAB units.
Could be some post hype if a spot opens up for him. There could be some post hype profit there with Andujar.
Yeah, I saw Ursula got dinged up, but I think he's going to stave off a trip to the IL. Scope, Shoop-a-loop. I always want to say that, and then I correct myself. Corbin for 2. He's just getting everyday playing time and might be valuable with the middle infield type position. Vogelbach, what's he been up to?
Big Dan.
The only time I saw him recently, he was involved in that horrible call of at first.
Yeah. I mean, he's been playing first since Hira is working on his swing in the minors. So yeah, I think Vogelbach's the thing about Vogelbach too is much better in an OBP league. Can you scroll up? I want to see what his OBP is right now.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Not very good. Never mind.
100 points better than his average.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He's on the year 14 hits, 10 walks. So, he could run into a few and have like a 3-homer week. So,
yeah, I mean, if you see his schedule, right-hander heavy, 5 of the next 7 games, something like that.
Yeah.
Depending on it, but it's probably near fringe bench spot. But I mean, that's kind of what we're dealing with sometimes with all these injuries. I think I have 4 IL hitters on my IL, so it's slim pickings if you have that many that are unavailable. I end up going with Trinan. Kenley, just his K to walk is like 1. I don't know. I'm wondering if they'll maybe give him a breather, give him a rest, longer days between opportunities or just outings, and I feel like Trinan's dialed in, so it's gonna kind of just sit on it. I don't think I'm starting him yet for the week, but I need saves. I've still just got like Soto and maybe if TJ becomes a closer, but anyway, and then Alberto for 2 for AP. So fairly quiet this week, other than some Smata, get some.
Yeah, Larnach was the big fish. Yeah. Well, Smata did the 2, Gonsolin, but Manoa for 59 and Larnock for
Mhm.
217. That's a, you know, that's a quarter, more than a quarter of his budget in 1 week. So
Fun
I hope it
stuff.
works out. Hope it works out for him.
Yeah, I'll have to keep a pulse. Maybe my alternate reality could come to fruition. To be
Let me rephrase. I hope it works out for him.
yeah.
No, I wish good fortune for everyone, but just not enough good fortune to win.
I bet it's probably fun to see your name at the top of the overall and also
Well,
the
I mean, I was in first in the league for several days, but now I've got Corbin and Mark, and Will's hanging around too. So I think there are 4 of us that are. And again, this is just, it's early May. I don't put any stock in the standings right now, but
but you can say as like the inaugural season of WERF, you were the first team to 70 home runs. You're the first team to 200 runs, first team to 200 RBIs. I took a mental note of that. I didn't write it down. I will forget it eventually, but you just eclipsed that within this last week. I think I edged you in RBIs. For some reason I'm an RBI hitting team, so maybe I got that going for me.
Yeah, you got some big guys. You got Abreu and Jared Walsh is almost to 30. Jed Lowry of all people, 22. So yeah. No, it's fun. It's a fun league. The trades are fun. I'm looking forward to the week.
Yep, I'm gonna check my calendar so I know for sure what to give you. Aqua Sox in the Tri-Cities, June 22nd through the 27th, 6 straight days of the Julios, the Gilbert, the Kirby.
I don't know, man. Some of those guys could be in Seattle by then. You never know.
Okay, don't rain on the parade. It's going to be June. It's going to be beautiful Pasco. It's going to be low 90s.
A dry heat, as you said. So.
No, but I put it in my calendar because I'm pretty stoked about it. But at least see a few or try to time it up for a Kirby start. I've been a fan. I got Kirby in a dynasty, so it's kind of fun.
He's
Fun
good.
to cheer on the home team and see him in person. Same with like Christian Robinson, 2019. I got to see him up close, personal. So anyway, open invite.
We'll try to make it happen.
Cool. Anything else you want to plug? Recent work or anything going on? Baseball Prospectus?
I just got my weekly column that comes out on Friday for 2-star pitchers, and record our podcast Flags Fly Forever comes out every Friday morning. That's it.
And if you win the overall, you will have a championship belt to keep forever.
We're not gonna
pressure. I'm just saying expectations.
It's just too early. We'll talk about that if and when it becomes relevant.
Right. But still pretty fun it's just fun. I think that's the word cool. Of the whole thing. This is for fun. It's supposed to be just a way to bond together different people from different walks of life and find a common hobby. And it so happens to be, watching grown men play a child's game. So fun stuff. He is at John Hegland on Twitter. I am at JT_the Ginger. You can find us at WERF League. And until next time, thank you much. Take care. Be well. Bye.